Hey y'all. I know you could barely see me. There's not much lighting over here. It's like nighttime where I'm at. And it's like cloudy, because it was raining. So this is more of a talking situation. And I haven't been on live in a while. Um, I don't know. I just felt compelled. Um, there's been a lot going on lately. And I'll start with the positive. Um, for one, um, for an update for those who might not know, I've kind of been like in the Maryland area because my car stopped working over here. And I jokingly say I blame the government because it works when it wants to and then it doesn't when it doesn't. So I've been out here hustling, selling CDs out the trunk of my car, literally. Not the trunk, but as the saying goes. I've been selling CDs out my car. Um, and right now, today, I'm at 35 sales. I sold out of all my product, um, which I'm grateful. I'm grateful to say. Yeah, sold out of all my product. Um, I had purple CDs. I sold out of that. I sold out of my flash drives and I sold out of the silver CDs. I had some CDs in MP3s and some in audio because I know depending on what type of player people will have, they've been saying that the MP3s don't work. So I'm like, okay, I'll make audios as backup, just in case. And I sold out of all of those. So grateful for that. And the tough thing when you're like an independent artist is like gauging whether the people purchasing are purchasing for authentic purposes or like I mean then again like my main pitch has just been my situation, just like look, I'm trying to get my car fixed, I'm trying to get on to the next place. And so and plus there's been a lot of people that's been like, look, it's okay, you don't have to give me a CD, I'll just give you money, just to donate. So I've been grateful for that. um you know, and just me being who I am in this world and just like, navigating spaces in an unfamiliar space. Sometimes you don't know if folks are genuine or not, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, but you're giving me money, and you don't have to. And there's people who don't, and there's people who's like, no, I don't got it, or no, I don't want to, or whatever, and that's fine. And I'm grateful for the people who do, the people who have been purchasing, who have been, you know, um, getting the CD and whatnot. And sometimes, you know, it's tough because, like not to sound woo woo, but just to be real, sometimes people just want your energy. And it's like, I'll give you a little bit of money, but, more so, for the $10 that I'm giving you in exchange, I'm getting your energy while you're here, which is probably more valuable than what you're the product that you're selling, you know? And so, and for me as an artist, I'm passionate about my music. I care about my art. And, I do want people to genuinely give my art a chance and really like take time to like hear the music. And it's like, and it's funny when people reference a song while saying like, oh, if I had money otherwise, I would support. And it's like, you're literally naming my song. Like so I know my music. You know what I mean? And whatever. So there's that, right? And it's like it's frustrating when people are like referencing the music, but it's like, okay, but you don't want to support the actual artist, but whatever. Okay, either way. But grateful for the people who have purchased, grateful for the people who have donated. I did the math and, I've been able to save more than the amount that I've made in sales alone. Cause the thing is like, I'm saving money, but then I also have to like pay for food for me and Angie. And like, just like simple things like supplies and, feminine products and, just like cleaning things, or just the things like the everyday stuff that I need. And then also trying to balance like saving money, and then also like being intentional about how I'm saving the money and whatnot. And then, pricing how much it's going to cost to get to the next location and all those things. So, there's that. Um, but I'm grateful again for the people who've been supporting, who've been purchasing, and I'm grateful to even say I've sold out of all my CDs. I have to make more CDs, which has been a little bit of a challenge because I'm trying to get like my Wi-Fi situation together, um, and then also find a place where I can work undisturbed, which is also a challenge. But whatever, I'm gonna figure that out um, soon. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with my situation. I've been selling CDs and grateful to say I'm selling out and folks are purchasing the product and purchasing the EP. And you know, I just and I've been getting like my follows up. So even if people haven't been purchasing, I've been people have been like subscribing on YouTube. I know some people will act like they subscribe and then unsubscribe, whatever. But I'm grateful for the people who have subscribed and stayed subscribed on YouTube and maybe watching right now. Um, thank you. Shout out to the folks of Maryland that's been out here supporting, um, and really supporting me and my situation. And and even the people that's like kind of been like, I've been seeing in the area that have been getting familiar with me and just check in and say like, hey, how you doing? Like, I heard about your situation, you good? There's been folks that's just been like giving me money, and folks that just check in on me, and and I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful for that, and I really appreciate hi love. I need you to chill out for a second, okay? All right, can you just sit over here? Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just really grateful for all the people that's been like helping out. And like people who recognize me and whatnot and just been checking in on my situation. Um, yeah. So I needed a moment to just like state that because um sometimes when you're like in the midst of certain circumstances, you just feel like everything is negative, and sometimes it's hard to like gauge like even if people are helping you out, is the help genuine, or are they trying to get something out of it? Or but at the same time, it's like I can't deny that people have been helping, and I've been out here hustling, like I've been out here like really pushing my CDs. And I know like I could hustle more. Like, I could like work a full day and hustle every day. But at the same time, I intentionally don't do that because like again, like for energetic purposes, like, I have to be protective with my energy. I'm not just like everybody out here. And I just for one, I have a hard time like just being around people these days, especially like large groups of people. I just don't like interacting with folks like that in the first place. But for me to make the moves I have to interact with people. I have to go up to folks and tell them my story and pitch my products. And and I do that, and it's not like I want to do that. I don't. I'm just gonna be honest. And not like because out of laziness, but it's just like out of one, like being protective with my energy. Two, like I don't want to have to like go up to people and like, bother them. But I've been doing sales for a very long time. So like I get that that's a part of the process. Um but and then yeah, so there are some days where it's like I could get out here and like push my CDs, but it's like let me regain my energy first. Like I can't just move out here like a regular person. Like if this was like a few years ago, if I had this hustle for my music a few years ago before my life is what it is right now, like I could work a full day every day. and, get out here and push my products. And then also, like, I got to think about the weather too, because some days it's rainy, some days it's really hot. And I got Angie with me. So it's like, on times when it's really hot, I want to make sure that, like, Angie's not like overheating and everything like that. So like certain times where it's like I could be out pushing my CDs, I'm making sure I'm looking after Angie. You know, I'm making sure she's all right. So like it's balancing all of that too. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I could make a lot more. I could sell a lot more CDs, quite frankly. But I'm grateful for the work that I have been putting in, And sometimes, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like mentally hard on myself because there's days like I'll look back at my stats because I've been keeping record of everything, like what I've sold, how I've received the money, who purchased it, the emails, and all those things. And there's some weeks where I work like maybe like three days in a week, or maybe 4 days in a week, and I'm like, damn, I could be working like 5 or 6 days in a week. But then again, at the same time, and then those days that I work, I'm only working like a few hours, maybe, like if I'm like running, I gotta go handle this, so let me make sure I bring my CDs with me, and then as I'm like walking or going where I gotta go, I'll sell CDs along the way. And so it's just like convenient in that way. And then there's sometimes where I'm like, I could work a full day where I'm like I could get up early, sell something in the morning, take a break, check on Angie, sell something later on in the day. And and I'm like, damn, I'm not working a full day. But then at the same time, like I have to remind myself, like, not to be so hard on myself because again, I can't move like everybody else. I can't move like as if I was doing door to door sales, even though I technically am. But again, like my life isn't what it used to be. Like, it's crazy being who I am and having to act like I'm not who I am. And people act like I'm not who I am, but I'm out here hustling as if I'm a nobody, just trying to make it, but at the same time, like beefing with I got personal beef with some people in some high places. Um, but I'm not too like uppity to be like, oh, that's beneath me to get out here and like push my product. Nah, I'm willing to do the work. And I've always had work ethic long as it be in the right spaces or I like in a safe environment. But at this point, like what's a safe environment? I don't know. Like like, there's times where, you know, we live in a day and age where like churches aren't even like safe environments with the climate of things that are happening in the world. And I mean, I'm not going to elaborate too much on that, but I mean that can go a lot of different ways, with just certain tragedies that's happened. And then just also like, just in general, like, there's times where you're trying to find spaces and then you realize, okay, this is the space for me, and it could be just as simple as that. And and I've had that experience several times, which is really like disheartening at times. But it is what it is, and you don't want to fit into places that aren't for you, so I mean I'd rather you keep it real with me, like, if you ain't fucking with me, just say that, and then I'll keep it pushing, you know versus people acting like they rock with you and really just to get you close and get on your energy. And um you know it's just, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's been going on with me right now, and like I said, like I'm really proud of the progress that I've been making, and just like getting out here hustling. And I gotta make more products because I've sold out of everything. So I mean, I still got my digital downloads, and so I think online that's probably the easiest way I can make sales. So my Cash App is right down here if you want to purchase the EP and help me out, and help me reach my goal. My goal is 500 um, by the end of the year, hopefully. We'll see how we can get to that. I don't know. And if not, that's fine. I'm just grateful that I'm just even out here making progress to begin with. But I think in the last month I've made, or maybe at this point, because we're like a week into September now, like a month in a week, I've made I've sold 30 35 like records. So if there's anybody I want to support, you know, I'll like check the chat in a little bit. But that's my cash. And then I also have Venmo. And my EP is $10 for, it was originally entitled Divine, but I rebranded the product, or to the project, to The Infatuate World of Neptune, abbreviated I1. And it's $10, and I'll send you an email link for the project. And I just appreciate anybody who's willing to support and help me out. Or even if you want to donate, even if you don't want to like purchase the CD and you just want to help me out, this is my Cash App, $NarisseM. That's where you can support me financially and help me get on the road. I think I got like maybe like two, I wouldn't say like maybe like $200 more to make. Um, I'd say 300 just to be like comfortable, but like $200, I'd be like at my goal to be able to like make the moves that I gotta make. And my goal is to like get that going before it starts getting cold in this area. So yeah, there's that. All right. Well, yeah. So that's the positive of what I've been wanting to say for the most part, and just kind of like giving you guys an update on my situation. So, okay. Um, the heavier things that I kind of wanted to discuss. No, John Mayer, as that happens to be the name of one of his albums. Um, what's the name? Well, you're trash for being here and taking your time to be on my platform. But anyway, so yeah. Anyway, um, yeah. There's just been a lot going on lately, and I don't know. I just feel like at one point there was like a, I don't know. I just felt like in the midst of me like pushing my CDs and everything, there's been like a movement of like support and folks helping. But even that, I felt like that just was feeling iffy to me, because there was just certain things going on that like the reference wouldn't have made sense had I not been led astray. And because of me being led astray, then I get what the reference was. And so it was like, okay, well, why make that reference if it wasn't like a warning situation? It was like a, you know, it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of that scene in The Matrix where, Neo goes to see the Oracle, and she's like, oh yeah, and don't worry about the vase. And he knocks over the vase. And he's like, oh damn. And she's like, I told you not to worry about it. But what's gonna bake your noodle later on is, would you have dropped the vase had I didn't say anything? And so, and I feel like there's certain circumstances in my life and like where I feel like, there's been like signs or like hints at certain things. And it's like, okay, it'd be one thing if you were like trying to warn me, but I feel like it's a difference between warning me and then like leading me to the shenanigans, you know? And yeah, I've been feeling like that in certain instances. And it's like, I'm like, well, maybe had certain things not been said or implied or like imagery shown, then I wouldn't have been led to certain situations. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, and I don't know. I've just been feeling like I've been in a space of like, I don't know, just like confusion. Um, and I feel like there's a lot of like uh confusion going on, just dealing with people. Um and like as I'm out here in a new area, just like, getting to know people, and certain people like helping me out. And then, certain people where it's like, okay, they were going to help me in this way. And then maybe the help didn't go all the way through. And then, and then there's this, and sometimes like reach back out, be like a um, and then, and sometimes it's like, okay, are you helping me or are you hindering me? Like, no. And that's where, and don't get me wrong, like, in more relationships, like even people that you like rock with, like say your friends and family, there's moments where like people get on your nerves, right? But you'll care about them and you still love them and you still wish them well. But it's a difference when like, people are acting like they support you, but they're doing things that, you know, are one leading you astray, or like are really just kind of like low jabs, or just kind of like, just like disrespectful in a way, like sneak dissing in a way. And I'm just like, okay, that's interesting, and I'm just like in a space where I'm just, constantly feeling like I have to reiterate my story and my situation to folks, and then at the same time, like I keep my distance because it's like, well, if I'm irritating to you or if you don't like me in any way, then I'll keep my distance. I feel like that's fair, unless, but then again, some people will act like they don't like you, but then will try to summon your energy, you know, and why I don't get it. Maybe like, I guess like if I were like a public figure or something, and it's like, okay, you don't like a person, but mentioning a person or getting on and like getting someone's attention is going to get you like, I don't know, like notoriety or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it could be that. I don't know. I've seen that um a bit, and that can be confusing sometimes because it's like, okay, are you helping or are you not? Like, I don't know. And my whole thing is like, there are, and then there are some instances where folks have been helping, and usually it's like random folks that I really don't even know and recognize. But you know um yeah, it's just like, I don't know, there's just been a lot of things going on, and and just a lot of like up and downs, and just not knowing like who's real and who's not, and where people stand. But regardless, like I'm grateful for the help that I've been able to receive or whatever. And my whole thing is just like, I feel like I've expressed myself and have shared my experience and my situation more than enough time with a plethora of like, you know, things to back up my experiences for me to, not really understand what the confusion is, like the confusion is coming from, you know. Um and it's a lot of back and forth. It's like, oh, okay, we rocking with you, and then it's like, oh no, we not rocking with you no more. And then, oh wait, we rocking with you because what we thought we knew about you was a lie. Somebody was lying, and then it's like, oh wait, no, but now we still not rocking with you. And then again, I know it's like 'tis the season, right? It's September. Um, what today's the 6th. This is going to be the 7th at some point. Um, I know 'tis the season, it's back to school season. So like, people are focused on like, work and school and just like focusing on their own situations. So I understand there's certain things that come up during this time of the year. So, it's certain um, just certain things, stories that come up like, all right, fall and autumn comes up around this time. And then next month is going to be October, and you got Halloween. So you're going to see a lot of the ghouls and the goblins coming out. And energetically, spiritually, that shows up in the world. Even though it's just like, oh, it's just a holiday, whatever. Um, Interestingly enough, um, I always thought Halloween was interesting. Because my family, like, we didn't celebrate Halloween, which I always thought was interesting because, like, my father's mother's maiden name was Holloway. Um, and I always thought that was interesting because it kind of sounded like Halloween to me. Um, but yeah, the side note, random. But yeah. So I get it. It's the season of shenanigans. It's the season of shenanigans. The weather's changing. Halloween's around the corner. I know certain folks like birthdays and holidays and such, and things, the veil gets thin around this time. Plus, like this weekend is supposed to be a blood moon, um, a blood moon in a eclipse at the same time, which is interesting. But gratefully, another positive has just been a very like healing period for me. So I mean that's positive. Um, and then also like I don't know, like it's just is I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a really weird space right now. Okay, don't know what that was. Yeah, I just feel like I'm in a weird space where you know, shit like that happens. Where it's like weird sounds in the background. But then at the same time, like I know like I've been getting nuggets of like positivity and people helping me and and people supporting and people who believe in me and and I'm like, okay, I know that if people didn't, then I wouldn't have been helped, you know? There wouldn't be people like aiding me and and with my situation and my story and whatnot. Um, you know, and like for example, um like I've been trying to like eat healthier foods, right? And I really haven't been eating grapes like that for several reasons. One of the main reasons is because I prefer, as irritating as it is, I prefer grapes with seeds because I know it's, well, I hope that it's not you know, GMO. And most of the grapes in stores these days are made with seeds. And I'm like, I just remember growing up when I was a kid, there was at least options, there was at least seeded grapes or seedless grapes. And I'm like, what, I'll get the seeded grapes, even though it's annoying to eat those, but at least I know it should be a healthier option. Um and then, and just with like the symbolism of everything these days, like and people use the word grape to imply other things, like just to censor themselves. Like if they're talking about a certain situation as it pertains to essay, and they say like, oh, well, this person was graped. And it's like, and just the word just kind of like is off putting. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like it's a fruit, it's something that grows from the earth. And then honestly, if you understand the historical context, grapes were seen as like a luxury at one point. I believe in like Roman history. when they would have like their parties and such, and like, and eating grapes and whatnot. So, and the thing is, like, it was really all about perspective. In one aspect you can see it as a luxury, in one aspect you can see it as a code word, or another aspect you can see it as like a food that's supposed to be healthy but it's not healthy, and it's just like, at this point you might as well just toss it all to the ground, you know at this point. um and um and it's not something I had to think about until, like, I overheard people talk about it in a grocery store. And and I'm grateful for the people who brought it up, because I mean, that I think that's an important detail, when you're grocery shopping and you're considering what foods you're going to eat, and especially if you're trying to be healthy, and and eat foods that are like true and authentic, um and not have to worry about, like, if it's poison, you know even though I don't know who all, um grateful that there were people who were like, let's point this out, as it pertains to the foods out here, because I mean, this is something that just kind of like, you know is something that's kind of gone on for a long time. It's kind of like, especially the whole conversation around grapes, the seedless grapes, that's, I mean, I feel like when you're at the grocery store and you're just looking at these grapes sitting out here, I mean, for years at a time, um and it's like, damn, y'all ain't got no other options. You just going So we just gonna let the seedless grapes sit out here for years and not have the healthy seeded grapes. Okay, interesting. But whatever. Anyway, sorry, I'm on a tangent here. Mainly because I've been beefing with grocery stores too. And just like, wanting to have a healthy option, and and safe foods while out shopping like anybody else. Because I believe customer service is important, and I'm just like, I just want healthy like anybody else, you know and treated fairly in these spaces. But whatever. um it's not whatever. I feel like, respect is the minimum. And but grateful for, um the times where I don't have to worry about that, where there are healthy options, and and the space is fine and it's affordable, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I gotta put my phone on the charger. This fucking charger that stays fully charged for a period of time, but then when I gotta charge my fucking phone, my phone is slow charging. But any other charger, I don't have that fucking problem, But whatever. Um, I love these fucking technology. Hold on, y'all. Trying to figure out where my wire is. It's probably still in the other bag. Yeah, but yeah. So um, that was a bit of a tangent, but whatever. Um, and then there was something else that I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like things just feel confusing, just because I feel like support has been like very like up and down and fleeting, and just certain spaces that felt like comfortable for me at one point, it just like the vibes just kind of started switching up. But then at the same time, like, I don't feel like completely like abandoned, because there have been people showing up and just like been helping, you know, me and my journey. Like, there are certain spaces that I would like, was led to believe that I was welcomed in. And then, I'll go there and then it'll just feel like real standoffish. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what the vibe, what the switch up is, but all right. But then at the same time, there are folks who do, you know, still are like very helpful. And I don't take that for granted. And I'm like, okay, all right, well then, like, I know somebody believes me, somebody believes in me. Um, you know, and it's not like I need that for validation.